Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rocha, Kodash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder, Aharawan Banyasharala of the Lions Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm in the car, Harab Button Yasharala, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharala, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. And not today, I'll be coming out with a lesson. And this is on another article. And of course, it's about, Esau trying to defend against the Lord's weapons of indignation. Basically, he's trying to safeguard himself from the Lord's wrath. And that's just not going to work. That's just not going to happen. But I'm going to read this article and I'm going to get a few scriptures that it made me think about. Or should I say that the Lord put on my spirit? It says, President Trump has announced plans for a so-called Golden Dome, which would be a defensive shield for the continental United States. Ideally, the Golden Dome would function much like Israel's Iron Dome missile system, which uses a system of anti-missile batteries to intercept incoming missiles and destroy them before they reach their target. Because the U.S. is so far from potential hostile nations, that's Esau thinking that can nobody take him down. This is the main concern is intercepting intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. It says which are often armed with nuclear warheads. It says while a shield around the nation may seem desirable, it is not as easy as just ordering one and installing it. It says the technology required to intercept an ICBM is challenging. The reason why, because ICBMs are hypersonic. They go fast. They go many times the speed of sound. But it says, anyways, the technology required to intercept an ICBM is challenging to create and deploy because it is surprisingly difficult to shoot them down. This is because ICBMs aren't single objects in the sky. They are fired above the atmosphere and deploy a series of decoys. So while a missile can potentially be intercepted, there is little chance of doing so after the missile releases its payload. Numerous attempts have been made to develop a way of intercepting ICBMs, including the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or the THAAD. It says, however, it took years for a successful operational interception, and it still can't stop ICBMs anyway, so why develop it? It says the THAAD was designed to intercept short, medium, and intermediate range ballistic missiles during their terminal phase, which is when the missile is making its atmospheric re-entry. Even the famed Patriot missile air defense system is incapable of intercepting an ICBM. So, for the moment, the Golden Dome is a less a reality than it is 175 billion pipe dream. It's really what it is. It's this devil. He's basically trying to safeguard himself against the Lord bringing his judgment and wrath to this place. But it's not going to work. None of what Esau's going to try to do to safeguard this place, it isn't going to work. Let's continue. It says, while it is not entirely effective, the U.S. does have a missile defense system protecting the homeland in THAAD, but its capability is limited. Shooting down a proper ICBM is challenging. As physicist Frederick Lamb of the United States of Illinois explained, intercepting even a single or its warheads is extremely challenging. The ability of any missile defense system to do this reliably has not been demonstrated because the Lord's weapons are not going to be stopped. It says this is because intercepting an ICBM has been described as hitting a bullet with a bullet, which is very hard to do. You have to be precisely met, like lined up. And the only reason I got an understanding of that because I've watched Esau and his ballistic videos where he shows how his ammunition works against various material. And I'll just leave it at that. And it's very hard to hit a bullet with a bullet. Like take two guns and then fire them at the same time. You got to it's a whole process. Like Esau did that on YouTube. Dude that does that on YouTube, if you look it up, they go through months of trial and error before they can film one video that's anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes long. But let's continue. It says this is because intercepting an ICBM has been demonstrated as hitting a bullet with a bullet, which is not an easy thing to do. One problem is the great distance involved, as an interceptor would first have to climb to 3,100 miles to come close to its target. ICBMs are also incredibly fast, moving around Mach 20. That's 20 times the speed of sound, which is 15,534 miles per hour. You know how fast that is? It says an ICBM has 3 phases of flight. Also increased difficulty as it can release warheads while in space, all while discharging decoys. Interceptors would have to determine, possibly via an onboard AI, which targets are worthy of being shot down or destroyed or destruction. This is which has its own technological hurdles to overcome. It says it might be possible to take out an ICBM with a multitude of already airborne or spaceborne interceptors, but that's like hitting a speeding bullet with a very expensive shotgun blast. Yeah, it says, and it's still probably a miss because shotgun blasts, they spread out. Let's continue, and it's only so many, we'll say, buckshot or BBs in a shell or cartridge, however you want to look at it, depending on what I'm saying. But continuing, it says the U.S. current missile defense system focus on a missile's mid-course phase when it jettisons its engines, meaning once it shoot up and then and shoot again, I guess, to pick up speed. When it jettisons its engines, but the system is not 100% effective, not by a long shot. A missile's terminal phase, when it re-enters the atmosphere, offers more possibilities for interception, but it happens in the comparative blink of an eye, so that's very fast, and leaves no margin for error. At the end of the day, the physics involved in taking out an ICBM are just simply not currently within the grasp. So there you go. They're trying to develop a system to defend against these Lord's weapons of indignation, or some kind of shield defense system that can stop them. And most missile defense systems can only, as it said, can only take out short range, medium range, and intermediate range missiles that are not moving many times the speed of sound. You know, they probably could shoot a missile down that's probably going 3, 4, maybe 500 miles per hour. That's slow compared to a hypersonic that can go, they said in here, Mach 20. That's 20 times the speed of sound. That's upwards of 15,000 plus miles per hour. But this is just devil, you know, trying to run and trying to hide and trying to safeguard himself from the Lord's judgment that's coming to this place. So this is Job chapter 20. I'm going to just start at my point, verse 24. It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. So when this devil tries to flee, tries to go down into the bunkers and wherever else this devil is going to try to run, it says the steel bow is going to strike him through, meaning no matter where this devil run here in Babylon, America, how he tries to hide here in Babylon, America, the bow of steel shall strike him through, meaning the Lord is still going to judge this devil. The Lord he's still going to fall. The Lord going to make sure that this devil still falls to his weapons of punishment. He used Esau to build him and to make him, and to put it out around the four corners of the earth. Now these other nations have gotten it, and they've increased exponentially, and they're still increasing, while America truly is being left behind quicker than what most might think. It's just not being put out where people can see, but the men of the Lord are doing it, so it is being put out. But nonetheless, yet again, he shall flee from the iron weapon. The iron weapon is the Lord's weapons of indignation, these ICBMs. And the bow of steel shall strike him through, meaning this devil is going to fall victim to the bow of steel, to the Lord's weapons. It is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glistering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. That's talking about these weapons. The glistering sword cometh out of his gall, meaning they're going to be shot out of the ground, out of silos, up into the atmosphere, and then down again. That's what it means by it is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glistering sword cometh out of his gall, meaning it's going to come out of something. It's going to be shot from something or from within. And it says, and terrors are upon him, meaning this devil is afraid of these things. This devil is afraid, but the Lord used this devil back in, if I'm not mistaken, World War II with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when he dropped Fat Man and Little Boy, or however that go, and destroyed them people. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was either hydrogen or atomic. I have to go back and really make sure that I get those details correct for the next time. I may have to bring that point up, but nonetheless, it destroyed a lot of people, and it's still in some places over there. People still can't go and live there, even though people want to move back there. That's from Japan. They want to move back there because they grew up there as children. They can't go back there because it's still a lot of light radiation. I'll say light radiation. So they still can't go over there because it'll still affect their health. And people are affected from that even back then. Now that are still alive are affected from that. From Esau's wickedness. From his show of power. But this devil is trying to run. It's going to run from the weapons. But that's why they're trying to get this golden dome built. It's going, the way the Lord explained the number of we'll say ballistic payloads that's going to hit this place, ICBM payloads, nuclear payloads, the Lord says 200,000. This is what John saw when he was on the Isle of Patmos. John saw Babylon, America back then being destroyed. But he explained it the best he could at the time that he was in. But this is talking about these missiles. And it's 200,000. That's 200 million. That is going to overwhelm any defense system. Period. It's too many to shoot down to stop, and they're not gonna be shot down anyway. If you read Joel chapter 2, ain't nothing gonna destroy them. The Lord gonna make sure that they hit its target. But let's continue. I'm gonna read verse 25 once more. It says, it is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glistering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. So the terrors are upon this devil. I'm gonna jump back. Verse 4 of Job chapter 20. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? And this was a question. No wicked, evil man has triumphed and stayed his legacy. He's always perished. The wicked person, people, kingdom, place, whatever, has always perished. It never ever lived out past its time that it was supposed to be here. The joy of the triumph of the wicked is short. It's only been a short time. These devil has been in power. They don't get to rule forever. In their minds, they want to. They think that their houses are gonna last forever. That's what they think, but the truth of the matter is, and it's just not. They're taking steps, and we'll say, well, we'll just leave it as steps to try and prolong themselves, and it's just not work. The joy of the hypocrite is only but for a moment, so it's only a short time that a wicked man, a wicked hypocritical man or people or place exists on this earth, only but for a short time. Verse 6, it says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens and his head reaches the clouds, meaning this devil has gotten very powerful. And also, with his apparatuses, his space stations and his satellites and his flying machines, his excellency has mounted up to the heavens. His head is reached unto the clouds. Verse 7, it says, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. This devil is going to perish forever like his own dung. And we already know where dung go, where everybody in their life has dealt with dung on many occasions. And where do we put the dung at? In the dung place, and then we flush it and it's gone forever. That's how this devil is going to perish. They which seen him shall say, where is he? So it's going to get to a point to where they'll be like, where that wicked person at? Where are they? They had all these big hopes and dreams, and now it is nothing. Where are they? Where is this devil? Where is he? That's what people are going to say. Verse 8, it says, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision in the night. So he's going to fly away as a dream. In order to be dreaming, you got to be asleep. You got to be asleep to dream. And most times, most people wake up and they don't remember the dream. Because this devil is going to be forgotten about, basically. It says, yeah, he shall be chased away as a vision in the night. Just imagine somebody dreaming or having and they get woke up abruptly. Or maybe not abruptly, right? But like, hey, or whatever. And they wake up. And guess what? No recollection of what the vision, whatever it is they had, unless it was very serious and prophetic. And the Lord wanted it to be remembered. But this devil is not going to be remembered. Verse 9, the eye which saw him shall say, read it again. The eye which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. So the eyes which saw him, like we see this devil walking around as the bishop at this camp, like say, footloose and fancy free. We see this devil frolicking and gallivanting and gadding abroad, just doing anything and everything he wants. Him and his whole little progeny. We see this devil, but one day we ain't gonna see this devil no more. And neither shall his place any more behold him. This devil will never ever be in power ever again. Once the Lord take this devil down, it'll never ever happen. That's why this devil is taking steps to try and hide himself. That's why he's gonna try and run from the Lord's weapons of indignation. But it's not gonna happen. Let's get to my last point. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1. Nahum chapter 1, verse 6. Who can stand before his indignation? Who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. So who can stand before the Lord's indignation? Who has stood before the Lord's indignation? We can read about several accounts when the Lord brought judgment, no man withstood it. Whatever man that was supposed to fall upon that judgment, or that judgment was supposed to fall upon that man, what happened? That man perished, or people perished when the Lord brought his judgment. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah. Take Dothan and Abiram. Them guys in Sirach, when they withstood Moses and Joshua and Caleb and all them. Well, mainly Moses. What happened? The Lord opened up the earth and swallowed all of them, and our people that followed behind them. They all got judged. No man withstood that. So who can stand before the Lord's indignation? And that's a question. It's a rhetorical question, but it's a question nonetheless. The answer to that question is no man. No one. Who can abide in the fierceness of the Lord's anger? Another question. Rhetorical, but still legitimate. Who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? Like when the Lord get angry and bring judgment, who can withstand? No man. It says his fury is poured out like fire. How do you think the Lord is going to judge the earth with fire? With these weapons that he's pulling out of his armory, that he's allowing these nations to build. And Esau over here trying to build a defense against it, thinking he finna run from it. But his fury, the Lord's fury, is poured out like fire, which is going to cause the lake of fire here in Babylon, America. It's like it. He says, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord calls anything he wants to have happen on this earth. He's all powerful. So yeah, we're gonna see things like this continue to ramp up, or be seen in the news, because though these are articles, they're still news as well. They're just not on a media platform that, you know, like videos or whatever on TV, but nonetheless, we're going to see these things even more, until it reaches a tipping point. And once the Lord decides, okay, now it's time to bring judgment on this place, the Lord is going to denuclearize the planet on Babylon, America. This is not hate. This is not hate speech. This is, thus saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. This will happen. These are the Lord's words. They will happen. The Lord is going to bring that judgment here. And he's going to use hypersonic missiles, ICBMs, to do it. It's going to have nuclear payloads. It's going to cause nuclear devastation, obliteration, and annihilation. And with that, Shalom.